The new Smiling Friends Iceberg, a deep dive into various topics related to the Smiling Friends series. These entries range from common to not so common to obscure to completely insane. I posted my first Smiling Friends Iceberg in January of 2023, and well, that video is pretty old and outdated now, so let's get it the hell out of here. This video is a new, enhanced version of that iceberg, featuring not just the original entries with updated information, but loads of new entries as well. Alright, shut up, enough talking. If you're ready to dive into this monstrous video, drop a like right now. Maybe we could aim for 100 likes. And with all that said, let's get
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I guess I can do one more for nothing. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack. Zach Hadel, otherwise known as Psychic Pebbles, and Michael Cusack are the masterminds of Smiling Friends. Zach's career began when he started creating Adobe Flash animations and uploading them to Newgrounds and eventually YouTube. One of Zach's most popular series was called Hellbenders, which we'll discuss in a little bit. As for Michael, his career began on Newgrounds and YouTube as well. Besides his amazing animations, Smiling Friends, and Bushworld Adventures, Michael is also known for creating the infamous internet troll Lucas the Magnificent and co-creating another Adult Swim series, YOLO, and also Koala Man. The entire first season aired on January 9th. On April 1st, 2020, as part of Adult Swim's prank for that year, the network premiered the pilot episode of Smiling Friends, Desmond's Big Day Out, and then almost 2 years later, on January 9th, 2022, the pilot, along with the entirety of Season 1, premiered. Oni Plays. Chris O'Neill, or Oni, is a YouTuber, animator, gamer, music producer, doctor, scientist, caretaker. Those last couple might be lies. And even a game developer who runs a YouTube channel titled Oni Plays. If you're a little bit confused, Oni's the guy who animated the Wingardium Leviosa Harry Potter parody.
Wingardium Leviosa.
You've definitely seen his Oni NG animations before. Well, on Oni Plays, Chris plays a bunch of video games with other creators and friends, like Josh Tamar, Lyle Rath, and Zach Hadel, who all happen to work on Smiling Friends, Oni included. He voiced various characters on the series, developed some animations, and even created the outro song. Oni's channel consists of hundreds of hours of the wildest jokes and conversations in human history. Now, a lot of what Zach usually states during these videos ends up becoming material for Smiling Friends, but I do want to state that just because there are similar jokes between Oni Plays and Smiling Friends doesn't necessarily mean that they're direct references or anything, at least according to Zach. Zach commented on a pretty popular reference video explaining that while there are a few nods, most of the topics and jokes from that video aren't references to moments from Oni Plays. A lot of the jokes or topics are just things that Zach has either been interested in or just finds hilarious. It's just his humor. Now, I'm not sure if Zach is just directing this statement at just this particular video, or if this comment goes for most reference in quotes YouTube compilations. But either way, Zach's humor is incredible and it needs to be studied. Critters. Critters are one of a few species of life that exist within the world of Smiling Friends. They come in all different sizes, shapes, colors, and flavors. Wait a minute. If you're a little confused, let me explain. Charlie, Pim, Alan, and Glep are critters. Mr. Boss is a human. His ex-wife is a demon. Critter, human, demon, low poly video game creature, there's a lot of them. Now, we as humans all know how we're created and how we develop over time. But in terms of the early stages of a critter, that's pretty unknown at this time. In the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty, Charlie mentions coming to Salty's when he was just a homunculus.
Have you really never been to Salty's? Dude, you're gonna love this place. I've been coming here since I was a homunculus.
However, Pim, in Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut, referred to his early stage as being a tadpole.
You're Gwimbly! I played your games as a little tadpole!
So perhaps each critter doesn't necessarily follow the same kind of physical development. Also, according to Michael, critters dislike wearing clothes. However, since their occupation involves meeting and interacting with clients face-to-face, Mr. Boss prefers if Charlie and Pim cover up. But since characters like Glep and Alan usually work inside the office, they don't really have to wear anything. Gwimbly. Gwimbly is a national treasure. He was the star of the very popular Gwimbly 3D platform game franchise back in the late 90s. Perhaps you might remember him for his iconic catchphrase,
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Together with his sidekick Mr. Millipede, they collected creamed corn and fought their nemesis, Count Groxia. But these days, Count Groxia is retired, Mr. Millipede is gone because of a real issue that's plaguing the US of A that I think we really need to start doing something about, and Gwimbly is now a character in a fighting game featuring characters from other other IPs. So Gwimbly was definitely inspired by like Crash Bandicoot, Rayman, those very popular and iconic video game characters from like the PS1 and N64 era. The main reason for Gwimbly being an entry in this video is because the internet went fucking ballistic when the Season 2 premiere, Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut, first aired on April 1st, 2024. I've never seen anything like it before. People all over Twitter fell in love with Gwimbly, to the point that he was literally trending for days on end. Hundreds of memes, warship posts, and even people manifesting a future Gwimbly trilogy. Hell, even I posted about him. What could I say? Gwimbly is a god. Let's hope and pray that one day someone makes a literal Gwimbly game. I mean, I would play it. Maybe I would even stream it here right on the main channel. Hey, comment below if you would like me to live stream once a week. YOLO. YOLO is an Adult Swim animated series created and directed by Michael Cusack. The pilot episode premiered alongside Smiling Friends' pilot on April 1st, 2020, while the full series began airing on August 10th, 2020. The series follows two girls, Sarah and Rachel, as they traverse the strange town of Wollongong, Australia, which is actually where Michael originated from. Sarah longs for love and social acceptance, while Rachel craves partying and chaos, which often gets the two gals into a lot of problems. YOLO is such an underrated Adult Swim series, so if you're a fan of Smiling Friends and are looking for a new hilarious show to binge while Zach and Michael cook up Season 3, definitely check out YOLO, it's great. In fact, we might even do a video on the channel soon about it. Look, Pim, I know it's our job.
Look, Pim, I know it's our job to help this guy and everything, but I think this guy's a lost cause.
The "Look, Pim, I know it's our job" scene from the Smiling Friends episode, Desmond's Big Day Out, became a pretty popular meme online. Following the premiere of this episode, the scene went viral on Twitter and Reddit, prompting people to Photoshop Pim and Charlie into various scenes of other shows and moments in history with the original caption, with some even creating video versions of the meme too. Smiling Friends Cursed AI. On April 1st, 2023, as part of Adult Swim's prank for that year, the night began with the network stating that they were going to let AI run the entire block before airing a clip from the Smiling Friends episode, Frowning Friends. And let me tell you, it was fucking scary. Like really horrifying to look at. Jesus Christ. So after about a minute of this clip, Adult Swim jumped back in to stop the AI takeover, but quickly fast-forwarded to future shows on the block, followed by past shows, before wrapping up the night with footage of a train. The Smiling Friends go to Brazil. On August 6th, 2022, over half a year since the conclusion of Smiling Friends Season 1, the series returned for an 11-minute special titled The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil. Although the synopsis for this episode states that the gang are relaxing and having fun in Brazil, this 11-minute special follows Alan, Glep, Charlie, and Pim as they end up trapped in an airport because Pim didn't book a hotel, and that booking one would be pretty difficult because currently it's Mardi Gras. Apparently this episode was going to release on April Fools of 2022, but for some reason it was pushed back to August. What's pretty funny is that leading up to the premiere of this episode, Adult Swim released a promo featuring footage of the gang walking through the airport accompanied by a laugh track, and everyone just seems so happy, and the promo just made this episode appear to be so wholesome and fun. But obviously it wasn't fun for these guys.
On a very special Smiling Friends, the gang takes you to Brazil.
Now I have a question for you guys. This announcer sounds so familiar, but I cannot for the life of me figure out who he is. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard this person on like very old Nickelodeon commercials back in the day. If someone could let me know, please drop it in the comments below. April Fools 2024. The following year, aka this year, on April 1st, 2024, as part of Adult Swim's yearly prank, the network advertised the return of Smiling Friends. People online were pretty excited about the return of the series, until they quickly realized that the premiere date was on April 1st. So everyone, including myself, began to speculate what the network was planning. Were they going to let AI recreate Smiling Friends again? God, I hope not. Were they going to air an entire marathon of Season 1? Well, no, thank God, and no. Adult Swim came up with an even better idea. The network aired multiple episodes of Season 1 of Smiling Friends, recreated using puppets. Then towards the end of the puppet episode marathon, they gave us the Season 2 episode, oh god, here we go again,
Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut.
Followed by an announcement that Season 2 would officially begin on May 12th of the same year. 2024's prank, at least in my opinion, definitely ranks among some of the best that the network has ever pulled. Anyways, the full puppet version episodes can be found on Adult Swim's YouTube channel. Chills, Harry Partridge, and David Firth in Shrimp's Odyssey. Top 15 narrator and world-famous rapper Chills, along with David Firth, the mastermind behind Salad Fingers, and Harry Partridge make appearances in the Season 1 episode Shrimp's Odyssey. Chills makes a quick little cameo as the customer in the cafe.
Number 15. Could I get the number 15?
His character model is then used for the episode Frowning Friends, although he doesn't have a speaking role. As for David, he voiced Shrimp,
Okay, whoa, sorry. Okay, we'll start small.
while Harry voiced S'more announcer.
No! I really, really, really don't want S'more.
S'more James Carter was the short-lived 5th member of Smiling Friends. He was voiced by Oni and first appeared in the Season 1 episode Shrimp's Odyssey as a poll to see if he should be added to the cast. Look at the guy! Look at him go! He then briefly appears one more time towards the end of the Shrimp's Odyssey episode. Look at the little guy dance, come on! Tragically, this would be the final time we would ever see S'more live, because in the episode's In Loving Memory card, it's revealed that S'more passed away. Although the cause of S'more death was not revealed in the memory card, it appears as if he was attacked. But by who exactly? Well, we're going to talk about that later. Bring S'more back. I really, really want S'more. Gilbert Gottfried as God. In the episode, Charlie dies and doesn't come back. The voice of God was none other than the legend himself, Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert's voiceover in this episode was the final time that a series or movie featuring him would release during his life, as he would later pass away on April 12th, 2022. Since then, he's had a few posthumous releases, like the Royal Crackers episode, Theo's Comeback Tour, and his cameo in the Paradise PD episode, Diddy's Home. Mip's design is based on Bilbo Baggins from the 1977 Hobbit movie. Mip, the small, sinister, Hobbit-like character who befriends Pim and Charlie in the episode Enchanted Forest, appears to be stylized after Bilbo Baggins from the 1977 Rankin-Bass Hobbit film. Although, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Michael Cusack in the DVD commentary for the episode Enchanted Forest stated that Mip's design was based on another film that came out around this time.
Harry Partridge.
Harry Partridge and his team, they did a fantastic job emulating the Ralph Bashki
It can't be
style.
understated.
Although if you compare that movie and the 1977 Hobbit film, it's clear that Michael probably misspoke. Goblin Caught on Tape. Goblin Caught on Tape is the production company started by Zach Hadel. The name Goblin Caught on Tape has been a joke amongst fans of Zach for a long time. The studio name is in reference to an old viral video that Zach used to be obsessed with. This video featured a little tiny creature running past a baby. Zach apparently loved this video so much that he asked YouTuber and world-famous rapper Chills to narrate the intro to episode 5 of his podcast, Schmucks, which also happens to feature the video.
Honestly, if I saw that damn thing in my living room, I'd stomp on it until it was a small brown stain. No one is sure if the creature or its podcast will ever return.
Hellbenders. Hellbenders is an old animated series created by Zach Hadel and Chris O'Neill. The series first premiered on October 6th, 2012 on Zach's channel Psychic Pebbles. The show tells a story about two friends named Zach and Chris and their strange adventures together. Eventually, Zach and Chris went to pitch the series to Adult Swim, but were turned down due to there being multiple shows with hell going on at the time. Specifically, Mr. Pickles and Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. An unfinished 15-minute pilot of the series that Zach and Chris were working on eventually leaked online in 2017, which basically killed the duo's motivation to continue the project. At least that's what it seems like. Zach then went on to Reddit to clarify that the pilot was 100% unfinished, that Chris and him were constantly reworking everything until they found the perfect balance, and that it sucked to see their half-cooked meal being slandered online because it apparently looked awful. The pilot was nowhere near complete, and people online judged the series prematurely. And unfortunately, Zach and Chris moved on from Hellbenders. Or fortunately, because I mean, we do have Smiling Friends now. Zach promised worms in episode 2. One moment that really sticks out in Oni Play's history, at least to me, is when Zach promised to put a worm in episode 2 of Smiling Friends, and well, he kept that promise. The episode Mr. Frog did contain a worm. You just have to really look for it. The series is loaded with guest stars. Smiling Friends is just overloaded with tons of internet personalities and celebrities. Like, it's boggling to imagine how so many talented people have had some form of appearance in this series. Now, to save time, I'm just gonna run through a few of my favorites, but disclaimer, if I did not list a very prominent internet figure in this entry, don't get mad at me just yet, okay? But simmer down a little bit. There's a pretty good chance that your favorite internet cameo will be listed later in their own entry, like Nostalgia Critic and James Ralph, for example, Hannibal. Anyways, here are my highlights. Mike Stacklasa, the founder of Red Letter Media, played Desmond, the Purple Alien, and himself in Charlie Dies. Finn and Nick Wolfhard played the man living in the wall, Graham Nelly, and various Bliblies. David Firth also voiced Fillmore. Tom Fulp, the founder of Newgrounds, played Pym's sister's alpha boyfriend. Jason Page, the singer of the first Pokemon theme song opening. I wanna be the very best. Yeah, that guy. He sang a cover of the Raymond Lashenko song, So It's You, for the Pym and Jennifer Shrimpina love dream sequence. Harry Caravello played Simon S. Salty. Harry Partridge also voiced Grease Puddle, 3D Squelton, and William Worm. Erica Lindbeck voiced Mustard, Rex's assistant, the Princess of the Enchanted Forest, and Brittany. Rich Evans, also from Red Letter Media, played the Brown Alien. Joel Harver played Doug. Dana Snyder played Rotten the Snowman. And of course, Zach, Michael, Josh Tamar, Lyle, Oni, Mark M, all of those guys. I don't have to list them here, but they're in every episode. They're great in their own ways. And as Charlie once said,
and God bless America, I guess. What else can you say?
And that was layer 1. God, this is going to be a long video.
Dude, I couldn't focus on what you were saying with that thing on your face. I was sick of staring at it.
The James Rolfe Devil Hoax. When word got around that James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, had a role in the Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back episode, people quickly began to assume that he was the voice of the devil. However, James did not voice Satan. Satan was in fact voiced by Zach, and this statement is proven by shifting the pitch of the devil's voice up, to which you can clearly hear Zach's voice.
It's just becoming too much damn work, you know?
James does appear in this episode though, just not as the devil. Instead, he just makes a quick cameo in that little death sequence along with Mike Stacklasa. Daniel the Demon Slayer.
Hello, I'm Daniel the Demon Slayer. I slay demons so you don't have to.
Daniel the Demon Slayer, played by none other than the Nostalgia Critic, is a character that appears in the episode The Boss Finds Love. Charlie, Alan, and Pym are seen watching his How to Kill the Philodiabolus Demon Part 1 tutorial video in Charlie's place. What's pretty hilarious about this scene, besides the little standard YouTube video plugs like,
Now don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that.
By the way, did you like or subscribe? Go ahead, do it right now, I'm waiting. Every time I say subscribe, the little subscribe button lights up and it's kind of cool. Subscribe, subscribe. Is that Daniel's intro basically mimics how his Nostalgia Critic persona begins his videos.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember, so you don't have to.
Burnout Revenge for the PS2. Burnout Revenge was a racing game developed by Criterion Games and published by EA for the PS2, the original Xbox, and the 360 back in 2005. This is the video game that Alan's landlord wanted to play with him while also hanging out and getting high and filling their bellies with diet soda in the Season 2 episode, A Alan Adventure. Not only is this scene now one of the most iconic from the series, but it also basically sparked eBay listers and other resellers to essentially raise the prices of their copies of Burnout Revenge for the PS2. What's also interesting to note is that while Zach and Michael were given permission by EA to use the North American cover art for the episode, the EA logo was removed. Pym's exposed nerve ending. It's revealed in the episode Shrimp's Odyssey that the small little hair sitting on top of Pym's head isn't really hair. In fact, it's an exposed nerve ending, and clearly it hurts getting pulled. In loving memory, at the end of the credits in each episode, tribute cards appear on screen to commemorate the fallen. I did this in the first Smiling Friends Iceberg, and I'm going to do it again. Everyone at home, please stand. Let's take a moment to pay our respects to Jonathan Q. Shrimpling, Quentin the Animal Gwillington, Smormu James Carter, XL_% QZ9 star 4, Simon S. Salty, Dr. Terrence Napoleon II, Sir Oliver Peanut, Lieutenant Damien Xavier Kawap, Spjorn Gurn Splam, and with Season 2, Sick Little Freak, our darling daughter and mother of two, Smelina from Arizona, Elmer Edgar E. Evans, the California Silly Billy sex pest who's still alive, the two mysterious lovers inviting you to their secret fort, Xenor Squibbity Dee Squibbity Doo, and the average Smiling Friends fan. Yeah, that looks about right. As of now, my favorite tribute card is still Damien's, because he's now set to die next year, and it really just feels like someone is plotting to get him soon. Charlie's uncle. Charlie's uncle is a pretty interesting character, and that's because we know so much about him despite not ever seeing him appear on screen. According to Charlie in the episode Mr. Frog, his uncle really likes to consume sleeping pills and get into deadly car accidents. In the episode Charlie, Pim, and Bill vs. the Alien, Charlie briefly mentions how his uncle was once in a band called the Red Gapers, and it's very possible that Charlie's uncle could be the creator of a very famous internet android, which we're going to talk about in the next entry. Side note, we didn't see Charlie's uncle at all during season 2. Can we please see him in season 3? I gotta see what this guy looks like. Tara the android, and how the creator might be Charlie's uncle. Tara is the name of a singing android that was created by a person named John Bergeron. You might be familiar with the video I Feel Fantastic. That is Tara. The original video of Tara singing inside of a house originated online in 2004 before blowing up in popularity during the early days of YouTube thanks to its creepy and surreal nature. John's goal with Tara was to basically sell it to be used for security, entertainment, or research purposes, but soon rebranded it as a musical android programmed to sing songs that he wrote. The lore behind Tara is pretty deep and interesting, so if you would like to learn more about the android in your free time, check out this video I made almost 2 years ago titled The Creepiest Videos on YouTube Part 2. Anyways, in the season 2 episode The Boss Finds Love, Tara can be seen in the corner of Charlie's home. What I thought was pretty funny was when Charlie explained that he was watching over Tara for his uncle until he gets out of the hospital, alluding to the possibility of Charlie's uncle potentially being John Bergeron.
Throw this away. I can't, man. It's not mine. I'm just holding onto it for my uncle until he gets out of the hospital.
What kind of hospital, though? Is Charlie's uncle sick? Is he crazy? He might be crazy. We really need more Charlie's uncle lore in season 3. The Earth is flat. Although the Earth is shown to be round in the episode Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, that was all simply a story from the mind of Glep. In reality, the Earth is flat. When Charlie and Pim make it back to Earth after partying with a bunch of aliens, they notice something really messed up with the planet. Now, crazy conspiracy theory, maybe they're both still high and out of their minds, and what they're seeing isn't real, or maybe the Earth in the Smiling Friends universe is just flat, and if that's the case, then thank God I don't live there. Side note, I had a viewer quite a number of years ago argue with me about how the Earth is flat, and they were not joking, by the way. This person was really serious. And I just want to say, if that viewer happens to be watching this video, well, first of all, hey, it's been a while, but second, I hope you're in a better state of mind now. High on Life cameos. The video game High on Life features voice cameos from Zach and Michael. Zach, for example, played one of the slum security worm guys.
No, they said me. They picked me, dude. They picked me, not you. They picked me. They said I was Hunter, not you.
While Michael voiced Knifey. I think Zach might have voiced a few more minor characters in the game, but I'm not 100% positive because I still haven't gotten around to checking out High on Life yet. Maybe in like another 4 more years, I'll look into it. The Some Ordinary Gamers Delivery Guy hoax. A food delivery man is seen dropping off Satan's order in the episode Charlie Dies. Some fans who watched the episode the first time around were quick to point out that the delivery man kinda resembles YouTuber Some Ordinary Gamers or Mudahar. Now, I will say that there is a little bit of a resemblance. However, Muda did not voice the character, and this is not Mudahar. When he received the delightful news of his cameo in quotes, Muda confirmed that he was not featured in the series and even claimed that the specific scene was completely fake.
That's not an actual clip from the show. I know you guys are trying to make it look really realistic with the TiVo shit, but this ain't real, okay?
Muda then tweeted an image of a YouTube video called All Scene of Some Ordinary Gamer Muda and Smiling Friends, which is the real title of the video, and that's really funny. At the time, someone even added Mudahar as a reoccurring character on the Smiling Friends fandom wiki, which was eventually corrected and updated, but again, Muda was not in Smiling Friends. This man is just a random food delivery guy, although I was really hoping that maybe Zach or Michael would have reached out to Muda after this rumor began to spread to potentially bring his voice to the series for season 2, but that unfortunately just did not happen. However, Smiling Friends was just confirmed for season 3, so maybe? Come on, Zach and Michael, give this man a voice acting job. Bush World Adventures and The Smiley Face. As part of their 2018 April Fool's stunt, Adult Swim aired an animated and Australian parody of Rick and Morty titled Bushworld Adventures. This 11-minute special was created by Michael Cusack, and it follows Rick and Morty as they travel to Bendigo in search of a cube. Bushworld is such a deranged and at some points terrifying Rick and Morty parody, but I'd recommend giving it a watch if you haven't seen it before because it's hilarious. I'm not complaining that we have an anime coming up, because I'm excited about that, but I would do a lot of horrible things to get a 10-episode order for Bushworld Adventures right now. Now, what I'm about to explain to you guys isn't really a reference to Smiling Friends, since Bushworld predates the series, but the intro sequence for Bushworld features a smiley face that kinda resembles the Smiling Friends building. This smiley face is also seen in Michael's YouTube channel profile pic and some of his other projects as well. But I mean, it's kind of like a cool callback. Smiling Friends is set in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So this entry consists of both facts and also theories. But let's start out with the facts. Smiling Friends totally takes place in the state of Pennsylvania. Evidence? Well, alright, I'm getting to it, Jesus. Back during the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con, Zach and Michael at the Smiling Friends panel mentioned that they roughly based the city of Smiling Friends around Philly and LA, but never explicitly stated that the setting takes place in either one of those cities. Now, when the news reporters at WNW doxed Glep, in the episode Mr. President, it's revealed that Glep and basically the entire cast are located in the wonderful state of Pennsylvania, which is where I live. I also didn't know that Glep's sex was green. That's pretty funny. Also, he's apparently over 1,000 years old, which I mean we technically already knew thanks to the season 1 DVD commentary. But one question still remains. Which city in Pennsylvania? I do believe that the setting is Philadelphia. Not just because Zach stated that they roughly based the setting around Philly at the 2022 Smiling Friends San Diego Comic-Con panel, but also for another couple of reasons. Number 1, when Gilbert Gottfried sends Charlie back down to Earth in the episode Charlie Dies, he is sent hurling towards the northeast. Number 2, and you might want to put a tinfoil hat on for this, the Newgrounds headquarters is located in Philly, specifically Glenside. Maybe by accident, Zach and Michael paid homage to the website where they began their careers, but at least we can say for certain that Pennsylvania is the home of these guys. Alright, also, and I'm gonna cut in here real quickly, the live portion of the episode A Silly Halloween Special was filmed in South Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Not a big deal, right? Yeah, not a big deal at all, except, and I believe this was touched upon in the DVD commentary for this episode, the officer cites Title 18, Chapter 55, Section 5506 of the State Legislature of Pennsylvania.
That'll be Title 18, Chapter 55, Section 5506, loitering, prowling at night.
Whoever at nighttime maliciously loiters or maliciously prowls around a dwelling house or any other place used wholly or in part for living or dwelling purposes belonging to or occupied by another is guilty of a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. Of course, the live scenes don't state that they take place in South Melbourne, but I still think it was at least worth mentioning that the cops cited a PA law. Anyways, Pennsylvania confirmed. And that was layer 2. Man, God, it is like 100 degrees in here. I'm going to die.
Hey,
Oh, okay,
yeah. No, good point.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
Charlie's grandma and her death. Charlie's grandma is a deceased relative who now resides in Ichi Double Hockey Sticks. She's first mentioned in the episode Shrimp's Odyssey, where Charlie tells Pim that his grandma passed away after eating a peanut.
My grandma actually passed on from eating a peanut, so I don't really mess with that kind of stuff.
She then makes her physical debut in the episode Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back, when she tells Charlie that she permanently resides in hell because she said the word damn in 1958 when she saw her husband get shot in the head by a burglar, followed by pulling out a horrendous looking lollipop and giving it the old Gluck Gluck 9000. In an episode of the podcast series The Create Unknown, Zach made a connection between Charlie's grandmother's death and Mr. Peanut, who makes an appearance in the episode Frowning Friends, alongside Warren Buffett and Ronald Reagan. According to Mr. Peanut, he's been filling his peanuts with toxic pesticides, so it's quite possible that Charlie's grandmother passed away from eating one of Mr. Peanuts' toxic peanuts. Now, just a heads up for you guys, I'm going to be referencing this specific podcast episode for some future entries in this iceberg. Charlie and Satan play Rust. In the episode Charlie Dies, he and Satan can be seen playing the video game Rust. According to the DVD commentary for this episode, this gameplay comes from Michael himself. You know, it just goes to show that if you play Rust, you're just as bad as the devil.
You're just bad at the game. It's a skill issue. Get good.
Hey, that's YouTube sensation Mountain Drew. Brother's Egg, based on viral homunculus video. Professor Psychotic's homunculus experiments in the episode Brother's Egg are a direct reference to an old Russian YouTuber who had made videos about creating homunculi using what I believe was chicken eggs. Even Psychotic smashing their homunculus with a book is a reference to this YouTuber's second most popular video titled Homunculus Number 2, which shows the guy crushing one of their experiments with a Sino-Russian dictionary because it spat at them. Mr. Boss as Charlie Brown and Alan as the Joker. In the first Halloween episode titled A Silly Halloween Special, I can't believe I can now refer to this episode as the first Halloween-themed Smiling Friends episode. But anyways, Mr. Boss is seen dressed up as Charlie Brown. Alan is also seen dressed up as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Glep and his wife are supposed to be Ronald and Nancy Reagan, which is really funny. Glep can speak English. Glep usually speaks in a language known as Wingon. However, he does know how to speak English, or at least he eventually learns the language. In the episode, Charlie dies and doesn't come back. Glep, or Elder Glep as I like to call him, is heard narrating the episode's story in English.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
So I mean, Glep might already know English at this point, but just chooses not to speak it, or perhaps he learned how to speak the language after leaving Smiling Friends Inc. But wait a minute, when does he leave the company, and why? Glep was president. If you take a look at the photo above the fireplace in Glep's home, at the very end of the episode, Charlie Dies, it displays Glep in the Oval Office with his wife. So, at some point in the future, Glep leaves Smiling Friends, gets into politics, and eventually works his way up the ladder to become POTUS. I'm guessing that Glep learned English after his departure from Smiling Friends in order to communicate with the rest of the American public. But then again, Charlie, Pim, Alan, and everyone else doesn't seem to have a problem understanding what Glep is speaking, so who really knows? Also, in Pim's little lovey-dovey dream sequence with Jennifer/Shrimpina, he imagines Glep in a suit with an American flag pin. So Pim definitely sees Glep as the president. Brother's Egg audio during premiere. The audio mix during the premiere of Brother's Egg was really messed up. For example, the voices of characters were pretty quiet compared to the music and sound effects. Eventually, the Smiling Friends Twitter account stated that the mixing for the episode would be normal when it premiered on Max. The murder in Shrimp's apartment. While Charlie and Pim are walking down the hallway to Shrimp's apartment in the episode Shrimp's Odyssey, there is a man literally being murdered in a doorway, and I can't believe I've never noticed this before. Anyways, according to the DVD commentary for this episode, Zach and Michael tossed around an idea for Charlie and Pim to acknowledge the murder, but ultimately decided that having the two characters walk past the crime scene without mentioning it is much funnier, and I totally agree. Custom plushies. I think I received a comment a while ago on the original Iceberg from someone complaining about how this entry isn't Iceberg material or whatever, but I don't really care. I think these plushies are cool and more people should know about them. I don't know, so cry about it. On Etsy.com, user Angelina Lilly makes these really cool handmade stuffed animals and plushies based on popular cartoons like Invader Zim, Adventure Time, Aqua Teen, and of course, Smiling Friends. All of these items ship out of Ukraine, where she's located, and I mean, all of her creations look fantastic. Mr. Boss owns 1/4 of hell. When Mr. Boss's wife Brittany, who just so happens to be Satan's daughter, passed away after falling into a rose bush, he soon acquired 1/4 of hell thanks to their wedding contract. The post-credits scene features Mr. Boss and Satan arguing about their property line, which is hilarious. Foreshadowed future episodes. Season 2 of Smiling Friends really made a lot of callbacks to previous episodes, as well as teased future episodes. In the episode Gwimbly, I am not saying that entire title again, no way. Charlie's streaming service contained movies pertaining to Mr. Frog, a Simon S. Salty true crime doc, sightings of UFOs with the silhouettes of Fillmore and Duncan, which would be an episode later on in the season, a President Jimbo show, which would be the following episode, and a title for Spamtopia, which would also be a later episode in Season 2. And there are also other hints alluding to future episodes, scattered in the background throughout Season 2 as well, like the Bill Nye poster, which we all know Bill Nye eventually shows up in the season finale. Pim finally turns green. So I don't want to be this tinfoil hat guy, at least not this early in the video. I mean, we saved that crap for layer 7. But definitely pay attention to the background of these episodes moving forward, as it's totally possible that Zach and Michael are teasing the plots or topics of future episodes, maybe for Season 3. Anyways, booyah! That was layer 3. God.
Oh, I swear to God, if I had my Grimbly gun on me right now!
Blue Janitor Dude. You've heard of Smormu and Jumbo, but have you heard of the first original 5th Smiling Friend? Well, if you haven't, his name is Blue Janitor Dude. An early concept of the Smiling Friends critters included a 5th character known as Blue Janitor Dude. According to Zach, Blue Janitor Dude made his way into one shot of the pilot episode before being erased, deleted, murdered, whatever. Brendan Caulfield, composer for Smiling Friends, then posted the deleted scene of Blue Janitor Dude. Apparently BJD's whole shtick was that he just made everything much dirtier, which I think is a very funny concept for a character, and I really hope one day we get to see Blue Janitor Dude in an episode. Episodes 4 and 8 of each season are Halloween and Christmas specials. Although it's not really crazy that Zach and Michael gave us another Halloween and Christmas episode in season 2, I think it's important to note that the 4th episode of both seasons 1 and 2 are Halloween episodes, while episode 8 of each season is a Christmas episode. They totally did that on purpose, right? Pim was supposed to be green. Pim wasn't originally supposed to be pink. According to Zach in the DVD commentary for the pilot episode, Pim was originally going to be colored green. Despite Michael really liking green Pim, Zach stated that the green and yellow color scheme really reminded him of vomit, which I totally get.
Pim was green for probably...
I think it was like it was a good decent chunk of...
It was most of it.
A good decent chunk of at least this pilot. And I still want it, actually.
And I saw the point, but the big reason was, you know, Charlie's yellow, Pim being green. It just they look like puke. That was the big.
Yeah.
It looks like puke.
You know what? At least they made the season 2 finale title a callback to this piece of trivia. Mr. Frog and the Bliblies came before Smiling Friends. According to Zach and Michael while on The Create Unknown, they explained that Mr. Frog and the Bliblies were created way before they established the full concept of Smiling Friends. Michael once had a Flash document opened with Zach and randomly drew up Mr. Frog, a bug, and created the whole, "I'm Mr. Frog, this is my show, I eat the bug." The duo loved the idea so much, but an employee apparently told them that they would have to be either drunk or high to like that concept as a television show. So they decided that Mr. Frog would be like Smiling Friends' equivalent to Terrence and Phillip from South Park, being the show within the show. Chris Chan could have been Grease Puddle. According to Zach on The Create Unknown, they were eyeing up Chris Chan, to voice Grease Puddle in the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. The reason why Chris Chan was not featured and why the role was taken over by Harry Partridge was because Zach and Michael couldn't really afford to bring another internet cameo on for that season. It totally worked out though, because Harry's voice in the episode sounded pretty close to Chris Chan's, and also Chris Chan is just a horrible person.
Don't forget about me, Grace!
Funko Pops and figures in Shrimp's apartment. On the shelves located in the background of Shrimp's place are loads of Funko Pops and figures like the Fortnite characters Rox, Peely, Jonesy, and the Ice King, as well as what looks to be Master Chief, Mr. Frog, and what I could only assume is a Squirtle, and some other figures that I can't really make out. Pim and Charlie speak fluent Spanish. It's revealed in the episode Brother's Egg that Charlie and Pim can speak fluent Spanish.
Pim, hablemos así para que él no pueda entendernos.
Bien pensado, Charlie Latino.
What's really crazy is the Latin Spanish voice actors for Charlie and Pim, Mark Winslow and Edson Mattis, hopefully I didn't butcher those names, but I probably did, came in and voiced both characters for this episode. I really hope that Zach and Michael voice the characters in the Spanish dub. That would be pretty funny. Also, side note, not related, Pim could also speak Spanish. Mip's intentions are based on the Bjork Stalker. So this entry had my first upload of the original Smiling Friends Iceberg age restricted, so I don't plan on going into crazy specifics with this one. I'm very sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I like my YouTube channel. Although Mip's physical features resemble Bilbo Baggins from the 1977 Hobbit, his dark personality pretty much mimics the Bjork Stalker. Ricardo Lopez was an obsessed Bjork fan who tried to negatively affect the singer back in 1996 via a deadly letter. God, I love YouTube terminology. After the letter was mailed, Lopez recorded his last video ever, if you catch my drift. The police found Lopez a few days later, discovered his recordings, learned about his plan, and were able to intercept the letter before it was too late. Bjork is okay, and the letter never made it to her home. So just like Lopez, Mip was obviously obsessed with the Princess of the Enchanted Forest and wanted to surprise her in a big way, but thankfully that didn't happen. Lucas the Magnificent. Lucas the Magnificent was an online persona created by Michael Cusack, which basically embodied, at least from my perspective, the stereotypical hardcore smelly Reddit atheist persona. According to Michael during the Create Unknown episode, he finally came clean about his involvement with Lucas the Magnificent, explaining how he was a character and how it basically garnered the attention of Zach Hadel. The reason why I'm putting this in the iceberg is because Glep is seen watching some of Lucas the Magnificent's videos in the episode Desmond's Big Day Out. Simon S. Salty Live. After having a decently successful career in comedy and acting, Simon S. Salty actor Perry Caravello began streaming on Twitch under the name Perry Caravello Live, or PCL, in November of 2020. On one of his live streams, Perry can be seen outside the door of his apartment, reenacting the death of Simon S. Salty, having a heart attack and falling backwards into an inflatable raft. Dan Aykroyd and Norm Macdonald. According to Zach on The Create Unknown, he was very interested in having actor Dan Aykroyd play the mystery show host in the episode A Silly Halloween Special. But unfortunately, Zach and Michael couldn't get Dan. Apparently the role was really meant for him, as Zach stated in the podcast that he and Michael are obsessed with him. Zach even mentioned how much he loves Dan's 8-minute advertisement for Crystal Head Vodka, where he just goes on a giant paranormal spiel. In terms of Norm Macdonald, Zach and Michael were also interested in having him play the mystery show host according to the DVD commentary for the episode. However, by the time they reached out to his management, his cancer progressed too much.
Yeah, the Halloween episode, we really wanted to get Dan Aykroyd for the opening live action and outro part where that guy comes in. That was kind of written for Dan Aykroyd, and also Norm Macdonald, who we didn't know was
that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
What did Mr. Frog say? In the interview with Jimmy Fallon in the episode Mr. Frog talks about how it was hard working with, and I quote, those filthy. So what did Mr. Frog say? Well, according to Zach on The Create Unknown, it's kind of like a Rorschach test. A Rorschach test is basically a projective method of psychological testing. Oh, big words. I know. Look, I'll break it down for you. I gotta break it down for myself too, because I'm an idiot. Sometimes psychologists will show multiple pictures featuring these abstract, illustrations to their patients, and it's essentially up to them to state what they see. So what Zach is basically trying to say is that whatever Mr. Frog said on Jimmy Fallon is so messed up that it's completely up to us, the viewers, to decide. Whatever offensive, disgusting, grotesque thing we could conjure up in our heads is basically what Mr. Frog said. And wow, what a completely fucked up thing to say, especially now with the whole situation going on and everything. Now, in regards to what Michael said while recording Mr. Frog's lines during that recording session, he made some tss sounds, which were covered up by the censor bleep. Marge Simpson. Marge Simpson is the wife of, not Homer, is the wife of Glep, whose last name I'm assuming is also Simpson, but we don't really know yet. Yeah, Marge Simpson. Listen, these are Zach's words, not mine. Do you know how many Marge Simpsons exist in the world? It is a pretty common name. In fact, if you go on Facebook right now and type it in, you're gonna find tons of them. Cut Simpson's joke in Charlie Dies. According to the DVD commentary for the episode Charlie Dies, the little bit of dialogue between Charlie and the frozen head in hell was going to be way different than what is present now. Originally, the head was supposed to say, "Don't forget, you're here forever." Charlie would then reply with, "You stole that from The Simpsons. I literally just saw that episode last night." This was a reference to a moment in The Simpsons episode And Maggie Makes 3, but Zach and Michael removed the line because they didn't feel like a whole lot of people would understand the joke. And that was layer 4.
Oh. I got 10 G's says Jimbo's gonna win. And if he doesn't,
then I'll take matters into my own hands.
Deleted dolphin scene. During the production of the pilot episode of Smiling Friends, there was originally a scene planned where Charlie and Pim take Desmond to a beach littered with dead dolphins due to an oil spill. But as development went on, the scene was soon scrapped. Oh god, poor Pim. Uncensored, depressed Pim. In the pilot episode, Desmond's Big Day Out, we see a very smelly, realistic illustration of Pim. However, we only ever really see this version of Pim from the waist up. So what's hiding below his waist? Well, there is a full render of realistic Pim from head to toe, and sticking right out of his shorts is, oh Jesus. I obviously can't show you guys the full render here, but if you feel like checking it out, it's on Google. Grease killed Simon S. Salty. As we all know, Simon S. Salty passed away from a heart attack, but what caused the heart attack? And what are fast food burgers usually covered in? Grease. Grease killed Salty. Yeah, I'm looking at you, you puddle of grease. Yeah. Alan and Charlie acknowledge the nose kiss. Towards the end of the pilot episode of Smiling Friends, there is a scene where Alan takes a little suckle at Charlie's nose. This moment lasts like a few seconds. If you were a viewer of this pilot episode when it first aired years ago, then you would have probably never thought of this specific moment again. However, in the season 2 episode, The Magical Red Jewel, while watching Mr. Boss's son Jason, Charlie takes it upon himself to talk to Alan about just how uncomfortable he was with the whole nose suckling thing, which is really funny.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but the last time we hung out, like you and I, you actually sucked on my nose.
I never would have thought in a million years a minor detail like that would get brought up again. No biting reference. Mr. Boss is seen scolding his son Jason for biting his nipple during the breastfeeding scene in the pilot episode of Smiling Friends. This scene looks to be inspired by an animation that Zach created to promote the winners of the Gremblo art show.
Hey, no biting. Hey, no biting.
Because you bit me?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Which was an opportunity for fans to make a piece of Gremblo art for a chance for it to be sold. Gremblo, for those who don't know, was a character created by the Trash Tunes YouTube channel, and he was depicted as being very small and purple. However, Zach and Michael took this character and created their own version of it and basically turned it into a whole movement. Hashtag Gremblo. Mr. Boss's possible origin. There is a baby featured in the Gremblo art show winners animation that has a bruise on its head, which almost resembles the same bruise that Mr. Boss has on his head. So is this supposed to be Mr. Boss as a baby? Probably not, but it's still funny to think about. Also, before I forget, during the 2022 Smiling Friends Comic-Con panel, it was revealed that Mr. Boss was based on John McAfee, which, random detail, has nothing to do with this entry, but I just really wanted to bring it up because I think it's funny. DJ Spit's cut bush. According to Zach and Michael during the Create Unknown episode, DJ Spit from the episode Frowning Friends originally had a bush, if you catch my drift. However, standards and practices were not a fan of the bush, so some poor animator had to go through each frame and remove all of the hairs. Zach and Michael at the time of this podcast had no idea who the person who removed all the hair was. Zach then stated that if they had like an additional 2 weeks to work on this episode, he would have loved to have credited the animator as pube remover. Dead guy at Charlie's funeral. At the end of the episode, Charlie dies. A pair of legs can be seen dangling at the top right corner as the funeral scene pans out. I've seen some minor speculation on who this could be, but I just think this is supposed to be a very funny background gag. Missing Salty's mascots. Despite the Salties commercial showcasing a bunch of mascots, we are only ever introduced to the Fun Twins, Mustard, Ketchup, Salt Pepper, Grease Puddle, Century Egg, and Crazy Cup. There is no word on where the French fry and straw could be. That thing still looks like a catheter to me. However, we do know that the Chicken Nugget was a real character that was voiced by Lyle Rath and was going to be featured in this episode according to the behind-the-scenes commentary. But due to the episode going over the standard runtime, and because the character was too similar to Crazy Cup, Nugget was ultimately cut. The Frowning Friends could have died from a Russian satellite. According to Zach and Michael, during the Create Unknown, Frowning Friends was apparently the most stressful episode to create. For starters, they didn't have a solid beginning or ending to the episode. Zach and Michael discussed Charlie potentially mentioning a fallen Russian satellite towards the beginning of the episode, which would then later crush the Frowning Friends, but ended up coming up with the Renaissance Men towards the very last minute. They also discussed how Charlie and Pim were originally supposed to visit Mr. Man first before DJ Spit and build up the chaos, but ended up flipping the scenes around and then turning Mr. Man's head into DJ Spit, which ended up working out really well. Also, the "get out of my head" line was just a product of the stress. So stress can be a real pain, but this is probably a very rare example of how being stressed out can result in creating ridiculous ideas that make something much better. Little Helpers. Before Smiling Friends, there was Little Helpers, an idea that Zach and Michael were originally working on in 2017. Not too much is known about this project, but what we can only assume is that this series probably played a decent role in shaping what Smiling Friends is today. If we take a look at the artwork for the series, we can see that Gremblo is featured, as well as a girl that almost resembles Zoe, Charlie's girlfriend, and a character that resembles Mike Staklasa, who was allegedly going to play this character as well. There's also another concept image featuring a couple of new characters too. The Landlord was supposed to be in Shrimp's Odyssey. According to the Smiling Friends Twitter account, Alan's Landlord was supposed to make his debut way back in Season 1's episode, Shrimp's Odyssey, as Pim's Landlord. There was a scene in an early episode draft which showed Pim getting ready for his date with Shrimpina, or Jennifer, before being interrupted by the Landlord. Pim was supposed to die. According to Michael at the 2022 Smiling Friends San Diego Comic-Con panel, Pim was supposed to die and go to hell rather than Charlie in the episode Charlie Dies and Doesn't Come Back. Maybe Pim will die in the future, who knows? And by God, that was layer 5. You guys can't see it right now, but I'm dripping sweat. It's like 100 in here.
It takes a lot to make me smile. Huh?
Sorry, it was just a gulp.
Oh, okay.
Mike Lazo's final animation. According to the DVD commentary for the episode, Charlie Dies, Zach and Michael alleged that the moment when Jeremy the Demon falls over after being punched by Charlie was animated by former Adult Swim Executive Vice President Mike Lazo, although he was not officially credited. Apparently, that moment was his last animation before retiring. Media offline. There's a really funny media offline message that pops up in Spamtopia in the episode The Magical Red Jewel, aka Tyler Gets Fired. This error message appears in Adobe Premiere, which is a video editor for those unfamiliar. Whenever a person opens up a Premiere project file and a piece of media from that project cannot be located because it was either moved to a different location on the computer or because it was deleted entirely, this message appears. Charlie's girlfriend is dead? According to Zach at the 2022 San Diego Comic-Con Smiling Friends panel, Charlie's girlfriend, Zoe, is dead.
So between season 1 and 2, she got crushed by a bulldozer. That'll be the season 2, episode 1 opening, is them dealing with it.
Between season 1 and 2, Zoe was crushed by a bulldozer, which is, Jesus Christ, that's gotta be like one of the worst ways to go out. He then goes on to state that Zoe's death would be shown in the season 2 episode 1 opening. But obviously, Zoe's death wasn't shown. And as it turns out, Zach was doing a little bit of trolling, because Zoe reappears for the first time in season 2. In the season finale, Pim finally turns green. So as of now, she's alive. But who knows, maybe they'll kill her off in the future. Someone came up with a really interesting theory. I can't remember exactly who posted this, so whoever you are, credit to you. But maybe a couple weeks ago, I read a post from somebody saying that the reason why Charlie is drinking a lot more this season is because of Zoe's death. And that was definitely a very interesting theory that I totally believed for a bit. But after seeing Zoe, I think Charlie just has a problem. Christianity was right all along. The end of the episode, Charlie Dies, features an elderly Glep explaining to his grandson about how hell is totally a real place, and that Christianity was right all along, before wishing the viewers a Merry Christmas. Well, as it turns out, Joshua Tamar voiced Elder Glep, and it's rumored that he was picked for this role because he's Jewish, which makes the line, Christianity was right all along, way funnier. There's also a similar joke in the episode Frowning Friends, where Mr. Man, voiced by Lyle Rath, makes a remark about how he was looking forward to negatively affecting Puerto Ricans. You guys know what I'm trying to say. It's a pretty messed up line until you realize that Lyle is Puerto Rican himself. Cut mustard scene. According to Zach and Michael on the Create Unknown, there was supposed to be a scene where Mustard is shown giving Simon S. Salty the oh god. Okay, bear with me here. Two-hand twist, no teeth, slurp, choke, eyes, rolls back, gluck, gluck, wombo combo, yuck, yuck, 10,000 in ones, which basically means that Mustard would be moving quite literally at the speed of light. Unfiltered trip sequence. There's an unfiltered version of the trip scene from the episode Charlie, Pim, and Bill versus the Alien, which can be seen on Justin Noel's Twitter account. If I'm being perfectly honest, the unfiltered cut really reminds me of like the Super Jail style of animation, if you guys catch my drift. Rotoscoped fight moment mimics The Last of Us Part 2 meme. There is a segment in the rotoscoped Daniel and Doug fight scene in the episode Brother's Egg that closely resembles a moment from The Last of Us Part 2 where Abby and Ellie are fighting. That was definitely done on purpose, right? Come on. If this is a coincidence, this is a really fucking crazy coincidence. Random kisses. I don't know if it's just me or not, but I've personally noticed that there have been a lot more random kisses throughout Season 2. And you know, it's one thing to see Pim kiss his dad on the lips in Season 1, but now everyone is just kissing left and right. Like Charlie kissing Pim in A Allen Adventure, and Mr. Boss kissing Oscar in The Magical Red Jewel. And you know what? It's great. I like it. I want more kissing in Season 3. Come on, can we make it happen? And that was Layer 6. Woo. Whoopee.
Guess who just got a call to make the president smile?
Glep solves Pizzagate. On June 20th, 2024, while writing this entry, I came across something pretty peculiar on the Smiling Friends wiki. Now, let's backtrack a bit for a second. I have this suspicion that the final Smiling Friends episode of Season 2, Pim Finally Turns Green, wouldn't be the last of the season. My reasoning for this belief is that episodes 4 and 8 of each season are Halloween and Christmas episodes, and then months after the end of Season 1, we were gifted with the Brazil vacation episode. So if history were to repeat itself, we should be getting another special in a few months, right? Maybe? Look, nothing is confirmed at this time, so don't take this crazy conspiracy as legitimate info because it's not. I'm really reaching here. I might just be desperate for more Smiling Friends. However, back when I first started writing this entry, so June 20th, I noticed a really interesting detail on the series fandom wiki. Now, disclaimer for all of you, the fandom wiki is not always accurate. Anyone can really go on there and change or make adjustments to articles, and a lot of the time, pages based on shows lack sources. That's not to say that the fandom wiki isn't accurate. Most of the time it is, but I don't personally trust the wiki, especially since my earlier Icebergs, because I got a lot of stuff wrong in those videos because of the wiki. But I still believe that the wiki is somewhat of a useful tool when doing some basic research. But anyways, the juicy detail I keep putting off. I noticed that the next episode in line after Pim Finally Turns Green was labeled as NA or not applicable, but maybe a day or two later, that NA was replaced with a new episode title called Glep Solves Pizzagate, which if you don't know what Pizzagate is, look it up in your free time. It's a very insane, not proven to be real conspiracy. Shortly after, that title was removed, and the Pim Finally Turns Green page was reverted to normal. So one of two things are happening here. Number one, someone altered the page to mess with people, or two, Glep Solves Pizzagate is the bonus special episode for Season 2 that I have been manifesting in my stupid little goldfish brain, and someone who runs the wiki page got some insight, updated the page way too early, and removed the info before anyone saw. But I saw it. I saw it. So hypothetically, if this episode is real and it releases in just a few months' time, side note, wouldn't it be funny if it released on Election Day? Well, first of all, yeah, I called it. I called it, baby. Clip it right now. I called it. But second, the title is totally not going to reflect the episode's plot. As much as I would love for Glep to get to the bottom of a conspiracy like that, I imagine the episode is just going to be Glep sitting in his beanbag chair with his tablet in his hands, just doing some basic research. Regardless, I'd be ecstatic with this because I've been petitioning for a Glep-based episode for so long now. So, I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if this episode turns out to be real as we progress through the rest of the year. This could totally not be real, or it could be. We don't know yet. Either way, I still believe we're getting a bonus episode for Season 2, and if we don't, then I'm gonna eat a bowl of worms. You heard it here first. The Fun Twins might be Spanish. So the Fun Twins are those little crazy eyeball-looking aliens that appear in the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty. When Pim and Charlie interrogate the two creatures, aliens, whatever you want to call them, they go on a whole spiel about how they flew through space, crashed onto a planet, and began murdering the life forms on it, before entering some kind of portal. Now, I know I said in the first Iceberg video that these two guys were like one or two of my many spirit animals, and you know what? They still are. Look at them go. Now, since the episode The Magical Red Jewel aired, people have begun to compare the physical appearance of the Fun Twins to some of the citizens of Spamtopia. And I'm not gonna lie, I think those people are onto something. Out of Charlie and Pim, Pim was the only one able to understand the Fun Twins' story.
Pim, how did you understand any of that?
What?
Pim also happens to understand the language of Spanish. These two bastards probably lied about their entire story and instead originated from this hellscape. What is Glep watching? This is just a genuine question I have for you guys. What the hell is Glep watching in the episodes A Allen Adventure and Pim Finally Turns Green? I tried doing some research, but I can't really figure out what these two videos are. So if somebody wants to help me out in that department, I would truly appreciate it. Episode release date coincidences, A Allen Adventure, released on May 19th, 2024, the same day that a helicopter crash involving the Iranian president occurred. Why is this important? What a funny coincidence, because A Allen Adventure features a helicopter crash. It was also revealed, I think recently, that presidential candidate RFK Jr. had a dead worm in his brain, or he's got worms in his brain, or I don't know what the hell he said.
The worms are back!
Soon after, the Smiling Friends episode, Mr. President, aired, and that episode featured a secret worm society that attempts to manipulate the media and news into convincing voters to pick Mr. Frog over President Jimble. Smormu is still alive. Back when Shrimp's Odyssey first aired, some fans across the globe couldn't accept that Smormu was gone and theorized ways on how the character was still alive. And look, I hate to be this guy. I love Smormu too, but he isn't coming back. He's not returning, and we just have to accept that. The Critter War. This is just a crazy conspiracy theory I'm pulling out of my rectum, but I'm starting to believe that there is a Critter War going on in the Smiling Friends universe. Whether that's critters fighting overseas or critters being massacred by some ruthless dictator is beyond me. But the reason why I'm mentioning this idea is because in the episode The Boss Finds Love, Charlie's YouTube recommendations show a video titled The Critter War Every Day, which appears to be a parody of those YouTube videos that explain certain wars in a small amount of time. According to the upload date, the Critter War video was released 2 years ago. Now this could be literally nothing. However, in the episode Brother's Egg, Alan wants to turn off the Ham documentary to check on the war.
Where's the remote? I want to watch the updates on the war.
Remote's broken.
But what war exactly? Well, it's not specified, but I have a feeling that there has been a war going on for at least a little over 2 years, but probably more, involving critters. Just a conspiracy, but maybe we'll hear more about this war in a future season. Or maybe we'll never hear about it again. I mean, anything is possible. Mr. Frog has a vor fetish. This is another one of those entries where I need to be a little bit careful with how I go about explaining things because I like my YouTube channel. I believe the reason why Mr. Frog eats other living creatures is because he gets off to it, if you know what I mean. Why Glep voted against President Jimble. Glep voted against President Jimble in the episode Mr. President, but when asked about why he voted against him, Glep responded in Wingon, which is obviously a language that Alan, Charlie, and Pim understand. However, to us viewers, we aren't really well-rounded in Wingon. At least I don't think we are. So we're basically left to speculate on what Glep said. So let me give you guys, like, 2 random theories. By the way, I stole these from Reddit, and I really like one of them a lot. The first reason, which I'm not super huge on, is perhaps Glep voted for Mr. Frog as a form of kind gesture for stealing his show during the episode Mr. Frog. The other reason, which I kinda like a lot more, is that Glep voted against President Jimble as a way to help him smile. The goal of Smiling Friends is to obviously make people smile, and Jimble was not going to be happy if he continued to stay in the Oval Office. He was sick and tired of the haters, so Glep took it upon himself to free Jimble of his pain and find peace by being that one deciding vote. Or maybe Glep voted for Mr. Frog because he's also green, which is pretty messed up if you think about it, but not entirely out of the ordinary for a Smiling Friends gag. Mr. Boss's song parodies Carly Fiorina's song dedicated to Ted Cruz's children. Alright, so at the end of the episode The Boss Finds Love, Mr. Boss is performing a song that lyrically is pretty wholesome, but the whole scene is kind of creepy because Mr. Boss is naked and he's hugging everybody and nobody wants to be hugged.
I know 4 employees that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see them more.
This song, I might be, reaching here, but it kind of sounds like 2016 presidential candidate Carly Fiorina's song that she sang in front of a crowd, and apparently it was dedicated to Ted Cruz's children, and it's kind of weird.
I know 2 girls that I just adore. I'm so happy I can see them more.
You can't tell me they don't sound similar, because they totally sound similar. Charlie and Pim. Yeah. Look, there are people who ship these 2 characters, which is totally okay, but some of these people go a little bit further and write stories about them. Really fucking crazy stories. Now look, I am not against these 2 doing it or anything like that. In fact, I welcome a love arc between these 2 at some point in a future episode. I'm also not against people writing smut, but what I'm trying to say is that I think some of the writers of these stories spend a little too much time in the Smiling Friends world and maybe the internet, and should probably just take a break. I'm not your dad, I'm not angry at you, I'm not saying you have to quit, but just maybe get out for a little bit. Go see a movie, go hang out with somebody. That's all I'm asking. Eric Carl and Mr. Millipede share a death day. Mr. Millipede, Gwimbly's sidekick, passed away on May 23rd, 2021, the same day that the author of The Very Hungry Caterpillar passed away. Coincidence? Maybe. Yeah, probably. Charlie killed Smormu. Do you remember towards the very end of Shrimp's Odyssey when Charlie walked off screen after Smormu jumped into frame and started doing his dance? Look at him go! Remember how Smormu was found dead with bruises on his body? Well, what if Charlie disapproved of Smormu becoming the 5th Smiling Friend and decided to end his existence? What if he really didn't want Smormu? That's cold, man. That's really cold. Mysterious character at Charlie's funeral. In my previous Smiling Friends Iceberg, I mentioned this mysterious character at Charlie's funeral. My initial thinking was that this person was Charlie's uncle. However, this character can be seen in the background of Mr. Boss's wedding in the episode The Boss Finds Love. So, is this character just a mutual of Mr. Boss then? This can't be Charlie's uncle. Who the hell is this guy? I hope we find out soon. What if we never find out? What if we never find out though? Oh my god, I'll lose it. Mr. Boss's Spanish voice actor is the Green Goblin. This is pretty fucking insane, so try to bear with me here. There is a scene featuring Mr. Boss in the episode Frowning Friends that was very much inspired by a scene in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, going crazy and talking to himself in the mirror. Well, according to Zach in the DVD commentary for this episode, and he wasn't super confident when he stated this, but allegedly the Spanish voice actor for Mr. Boss played the Green Goblin in the Spanish dub of Spider-Man 2004. This is apparently true, at least from what I've gathered online. Jesse Condi dubbed over Willem Dafoe in the 2004 Spider-Man film and also dubbed Mr. Boss, and that is probably one of the biggest coincidences ever. Mr. Frog's plan to fix the economy is titled after the Unabomber's manifesto. When Charlie shows Pim an article outlining Mr. Frog's plan to fix the economy, the title reads Industrial Society and Its Future, which happens to be the title of the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski's manifesto. Wait, doesn't Mr. Boss have a manifesto too? Something's going on. Charlie's just clothed a hand banana. Yeah, I mean, come on, look at him. Look at them side by side. Tell me they're not the same. The eyeball. What's up, bud? Got a staring problem or something? The Gleb tattoo that ZeroOmens promised to get if his first Smiling Friends Iceberg reached 500 likes. Yeah, I got it. I did it. I'm a man of my word. Now, get this video to 5k likes and help me reach 30k before the end of 2024 and, I don't know, Jesus Christ, I'll get Smormu next. Fuck it, why not? But listen, here's the deal. If you guys reach that goal and I get Smormu tatted on me, then he needs to be resurrected for a future episode. That needs to happen. God, what have I done? And that was the final layer of the iceberg. Whoopee. Woohoo. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna go, take a walk. It's raining out. I need it.
Hello, I'm Mr. Frog and I approve this message. No, I don't. I hate you.
Well, there you guys have it. The new Smiling Friends Iceberg. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, drop a like. Maybe we could shoot for 100 likes on this video. And comment below your favorite entries, or entry ideas that you feel should have been mentioned in this video. And maybe when I revisit this iceberg again, in like a year and a half or whatever, I'll include some of your ideas. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Click the bell icon to be notified whenever I upload a brand new video. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and join my Discord server. All links in the bio below. Have a fantastic day, everyone. But please remember that Tyler will always be here in our hearts.